Deadlines are a crucial part of interacting with any state office, whether you're applying for a license, submitting paperwork, or responding to a notice. Missing a deadline can have significant consequences, and it's important to understand what might happen if you find yourself in this situation. In this video, we'll walk you through the typical outcomes of missing a deadline from a state office, what steps you can take if it happens, and how to avoid these issues in the future. Let's start by understanding why deadlines are so important in the first place. State offices set deadlines to keep processes running smoothly and ensure fairness for everyone involved. These deadlines help manage workloads, allocate resources, and maintain order in administrative procedures. When you miss a deadline, it can disrupt these processes and potentially delay services for others. That's why state offices often take missed deadlines seriously. Understanding the reasoning behind these timeframes can help you appreciate the importance of staying on track with your submissions and responses. There are many different types of deadlines you might encounter with a state office. These can include application deadlines, renewal dates, response periods for notices, and deadlines for submitting supporting documents. Each type of deadline serves a specific purpose, and missing any of them can lead to different consequences. It's important to know exactly what kind of deadline you're dealing with so you can prioritize your actions accordingly. When you miss a deadline from a state office, the immediate effects can vary depending on the specific situation. In some cases, your application or request may be automatically denied or closed. Other times, you might receive a notice informing you of the missed deadline and providing instructions for next steps. It's important to read any correspondence from the state office carefully to understand what actions, if any, you can still take. One of the most serious consequences of missing a state office deadline is the potential loss of certain benefits or rights. For example, if you miss the deadline to appeal a decision, you may lose your right to challenge that decision. Similarly, missing a renewal deadline could result in the loss of a license or permit. These outcomes can have long-term effects, so it's crucial to act promptly if you realize you've missed a deadline. Missing a deadline can also result in financial penalties. Some state offices impose late fees or fines if you fail to submit required documents or payments on time. These penalties can add up quickly and may even increase the longer you wait to resolve the issue. Always check the specific rules for your situation to understand what financial consequences you might face. Missing a deadline with a state office can affect your ability to apply for similar services in the future. Some offices may require you to wait a certain period before reapplying, or they may consider your previous missed deadline when reviewing new applications. This can make it more difficult to get approved or may result in additional scrutiny of your paperwork. In some cases, missing a deadline can have legal consequences. For example, failing to respond to a court summons or a legal notice from a state agency can result in judgments against you or other legal actions. It's important to take any legal deadlines especially seriously, as the repercussions can be severe and difficult to reverse. After missing a deadline, you may receive communication from the state office. This could be a letter, email, or official notice outlining the missed deadline and any resulting consequences. It's essential to read these communications carefully and respond promptly if any action is required. Ignoring these notices can make the situation worse. Depending on the state office and the specific deadline, you may have options for submitting your paperwork late. Some offices allow for a grace period, while others may accept late submissions with an explanation or supporting documentation. It's important to contact the office as soon as possible to find out what options are available to you. If you know in advance that you won't be able to meet a deadline, it's often possible to request an extension. Many state offices have procedures in place for extension requests, especially if you have a valid reason such as illness or unforeseen circumstances. Be sure to make your request in writing and provide any necessary documentation to support your case. If your application or request is denied due to a missed deadline, you may have the right to appeal. The appeals process varies by state and office, but it typically involves submitting a formal request for reconsideration and explaining why you missed the deadline. Be sure to act quickly, as there are often strict time limits for filing an appeal. When appealing or requesting a late submission, it's important to provide a clear and honest explanation for why you missed the deadline. State offices may be more lenient if you can demonstrate that the delay was due to circumstances beyond your control, such as a medical emergency or a natural disaster. Supporting documentation can strengthen your case. Keep records of all your communications with the state office, including emails, letters, and phone calls. This documentation can be valuable if you need to prove that you made a good faith effort to comply with the deadline, or if you need to appeal a decision. Staying organized can make the process much smoother. Some state offices offer a grace period after the official deadline. During this time, you may be able to submit your paperwork without facing the full consequences of a missed deadline. However, grace periods are not guaranteed and may come with additional requirements or fees. Always check with the specific office to see if a grace period applies to your situation. In many cases, missing a deadline results in an automatic denial or closure of your case. This means your application or request is no longer considered, and you may need to start the process over from the beginning. It's important to understand the specific policies of the state office you're dealing with so you know what to expect. If your application is denied or your case is closed due to a missed deadline, you may have the option to reapply. However, this often means starting from scratch, including paying any required fees and resubmitting all necessary documents. Be sure to check if there are any waiting periods or additional requirements before you can reapply. Missing a renewal deadline for a professional license can have serious consequences. You may lose your ability to practice in your field until your license is reinstated, which could take time and require additional fees or documentation. It's essential to keep track of renewal dates and set reminders to avoid these issues. Businesses that miss state office deadlines can face penalties such as fines, suspension of business licenses, or even forced closure. These consequences can disrupt operations and damage your reputation. It's especially important for business owners to stay organized and ensure all state requirements are met on time. Missing a tax filing deadline with a state office can result in late fees, interest charges, and potential audits. In some cases, repeated missed deadlines can trigger more serious enforcement actions. Always mark tax deadlines on your calendar and file as early as possible to avoid these issues. If you miss the deadline to renew your driver's license, you may face fines or be required to retake certain tests. In some states, driving with an expired license can result in tickets or other legal consequences. Make sure to renew your license before it expires to avoid these complications. Missing the deadline to renew your vehicle registration can lead to fines, late fees, and even impoundment of your vehicle in some cases. State offices are strict about registration deadlines, so it's important to keep your paperwork up to date and submit renewals on time. If you receive public assistance, missing a deadline for submitting required documents or recertifying your eligibility can result in a loss of benefits. State offices may terminate your assistance until you provide the necessary information, which can cause financial hardship. Always pay close attention to deadlines for these programs. Missing a deadline related to a court case, such as filing a response or submitting evidence, can have serious legal consequences. You may lose your case by default or be barred from presenting certain arguments. It's critical to meet all court-related deadlines to protect your legal rights. For those dealing with immigration or residency issues, missing a deadline can result in denial of status, loss of benefits, or even removal proceedings. These deadlines are often strict, and extensions are rarely granted. Always consult with an expert if you're unsure about your immigration deadlines. Missing deadlines for student aid or educational programs can mean losing out on financial assistance or being dropped from classes. State education offices are strict about these deadlines, so make sure to submit all required forms and documents on time to secure your aid and enrollment. If you rely on state housing or rental assistance, missing a deadline for paperwork or recertification can result in losing your housing support. This can lead to eviction or homelessness, so it's vital to stay on top of all deadlines related to your housing benefits. Missing deadlines for child support payments or family services, paperwork can result in enforcement actions, including wage, garnishment, or suspension of licenses. State offices are diligent in enforcing these deadlines to protect the interests of children and families. Missing deadlines for healthcare enrollment or insurance renewals can leave you without coverage. State offices may not allow late enrollments except in special circumstances, so it's important to keep track of all healthcare-related deadlines to maintain your coverage. If you're receiving unemployment benefits, missing a deadline for submitting weekly claims or required documents can result in a suspension or loss of benefits. State offices are strict about these deadlines to prevent fraud and ensure timely payments to eligible recipients. Missing a deadline related to jury duty or other civic responsibilities can result in fines or legal penalties. State offices take these obligations seriously, and failure to comply can have lasting consequences. Always respond to jury duty notices and complete any required paperwork on time. For those holding professional certifications, missing a renewal deadline can mean losing your certification status. This can impact your employment and professional reputation. Make sure to track all certification deadlines and submit renewals on time to avoid interruptions in your career. The best way to avoid the consequences of missed deadlines is to stay organized. Use calendars, reminders, and checklists to keep track of all important dates. Set alerts well in advance and double-check submission requirements to ensure you have everything ready on time. Take advantage of digital tools to set up reminders for all your important deadlines. Many smartphones and computers have built-in calendar apps that can send you alerts days or even weeks before a deadline. This simple step can help you avoid last-minute stress and missed opportunities. Keep all your important documents in one place, whether that's a physical folder or a digital file system. label everything clearly, and make backups of critical paperwork. Being organized makes it easier to find what you need and submit it on time. If you're unsure about a deadline or need help with paperwork, don't hesitate to reach out to the state office or a qualified professional. Many offices have customer service lines or online resources to answer your questions. Getting help early can prevent mistakes and missed deadlines. Each state office may have different policies regarding deadlines, extensions, and appeals. Take the time to read through any instructions or guidelines provided with your paperwork. Knowing the rules can help you avoid surprises and ensure you meet all requirements. When submitting important documents, consider using certified mail or an official online submission portal. This provides proof that you sent your paperwork on time and can help resolve disputes if the state office claims they didn't receive your documents. After submitting your documents, follow up with the state office to confirm receipt. This can help catch any issues early and give you time to correct mistakes before the deadline passes. Keeping a record of your follow-up communications is also a good practice. If you've missed a deadline in the past, use it as a learning opportunity. Identify what went wrong and put systems in place to prevent it from happening again. Whether it's setting more reminders or organizing your paperwork better, small changes can make a big difference. If you're facing serious consequences due to a missed deadline, consider seeking legal advice. An attorney can help you understand your rights and options, and may be able to assist with appeals or negotiations with the state office. Don't wait until it's too late to get help. Some state offices may make exceptions for missed deadlines in cases of emergencies or other special circumstances. If you believe you have a valid reason, gather all supporting documentation and contact the office as soon as possible to explain your situation. Stay informed about any changes to state office policies or deadlines by regularly checking official websites or subscribing to updates. Being proactive can help you avoid missing important deadlines and keep you up to date on any new requirements. To sum up, missing a deadline from a state office can lead to a range of consequences, from financial penalties and loss of benefits to legal actions and long-term impacts on your record. However, by staying organized, understanding your options, and acting quickly, you can often minimize the damage and get back on track. Missing a deadline from a state office can be stressful, but understanding the potential consequences and knowing what steps to take can make a big difference. Remember to stay organized, seek help when needed, and always communicate with the state office if you run into trouble. With the right approach, you can navigate these challenges and protect your interests.